Before we became tithers, I personally didn't really understand tithing. I didn't understand the significance of it. I didn't really feel the need to do it other than what might be left over or what felt comfortable to give. Things like savings and retirement were much more important to me.
And before we became tithers, our finances were a mess. Our overdraft protection was constantly kicking in every month, all the time. I kind of knew just from my upbringing that tithing was important, but really couldn't see how it would ever happen. There was just no possible way that we would ever get there.
In 2005, we had become what I would call pretty consistent tippers. When we had money left over at the end of the month, we would give, $50, $100 a month, just depending on what we had and what we were comfortable giving. So we started taking financial peace, and as part of that, we began to want to tithe more and began to come up with a plan to move towards tithing. We began to give a little bit more. We were praying for God to help us to get to a full 10% tithe. Around that time, Scott delivered a message on tithing, and that was when the lights really came on for me. As part of that message, Scott shared that by not tithing, I was putting a curse on my family. A curse in the sense that I was constructing a barrier between my family and God, and that barrier was preventing us from receiving the blessings we were supposed to have and the blessings that God wanted us to have.
So all throughout that year, we prayed and tried to figure out how we would, bring up our tithe to a full 10%. At that time, I was self-employed, and because I was self-employed, obviously money was, didn't come in if I wasn't working. So money was a big source of stress with my work. Even though we weren't at our tithe, our finances weren't in great shape, we decided that it would be best for our family for me to quit that job.
Shortly after Tracy quit that job, it was time to do our taxes again, so we filled out our tax return, we sent it in, and we got a very large refund, which is not the good part. We wanted to pretty quickly revisit our exemptions and get our taxes such that we were bringing home as much money as possible. We did that and came home, sat down, talked about it, did the math, and it literally put us, I wish I knew the exact number, but it put us within dollars of what we needed to get to our 10% tithe. And looking back at that, I'm convinced that that was God blessing our decision to let go of money. It wasn't a decision to just start giving 10%, but it was a decision to choose family and relationships over money. When we did our next tax return, we literally got just about the exact same amount of refund. I don't know how that happened, but so I'm going to assume that was God too.
Yeah. Well, now that we are tithers, and we've been doing that for a long time now, it feels great to be obedient, and we are debt-free except for our house. We save every month, and we do follow a spending plan every month. Some might call it a budget. Dave Ramsey calls it a spending plan. But we do follow that every month, and we tithe first on our spending plan. So it comes right off the top.
The way I would describe life after tithing would be just we feel free. Finances used to be the largest burden we carried, the greatest source of stress in our family, and we just don't feel that anymore. And we still have struggles, just like everybody else financially, but they're smaller.
When you receive all these blessings, we get free stuff, and it's just wild. It just makes you want to give that much more because you can bless other people, and God can use us to bless other people now. So it's just a crazy feeling that you just really can't explain.
I would encourage anyone out there who's not tithing to pray about it regularly. Find other people to pray with you. Meet with people who are tithing. Get some practical help, some financial planning help. But pray about it. Think about the blessings that you could be receiving and that you should be receiving. And that'll hopefully help you move towards tithing.